Understanding a business sounds complicated. Financial statements, ratios, endless analysis. Most people think you need years of experience to figure it out. But Warren Buffett saw it differently. When he was young, he didn't rely on complex models. He would go directly to the source, sit down with business owners and CEOs, and instead of asking dozens of questions, he focused on just two simple questions that could instantly reveal the strongest company in an industry and the one most likely to fail. No noise, no overthinking, just clarity. And once you hear these two questions, you'll never look at a business the same way again. So, what were these two questions? At first, they sound almost too simple, like they couldn't possibly give you any real edge. But that's exactly why they work. Because while everyone else is busy looking at spreadsheets, trying to predict the future, or following what the media says, Warren Buffett was doing something completely different. He was going straight to the source, talking to the people who live inside the industry, who see the reality behind the numbers, who understand what's actually happening, not just what's being reported. And instead of asking complicated questions, he asked this. First question: if you were stuck on a desert island for the next 10 years, and you could only invest in one of your competitors, which one would it be? And why? Now think deeply about this. This question forces honesty, because you're not asking who's doing well right now. You're asking who will survive and win over time. And that completely changes the answer. A CEO might talk confidently about their own company in public, but when you remove their company from the equation and force them to choose someone else, they reveal what they truly believe. They start thinking long-term. Who has the strongest business model? Who has the best management? Who has the biggest competitive advantage? Who can survive crises and still come out stronger? And in that moment, they're no longer selling you a story. They're giving you insight, real insight. Because deep down, every insider knows who the real winner is, even if they never say it publicly. And then comes the second question. And this is where things get even more interesting. Second question: if you had to bet against one competitor, if your own money was on the line, which company would you short? And why? Now, this question does something powerful. It removes all politeness. No one wants to speak badly about competitors, especially CEOs. But when you frame it like this, when you make it about survival, about money, about real consequences, they can't hide anymore, because now they're thinking, if I had to protect my own wealth, who would I avoid at all costs? And suddenly, the truth comes out. They start pointing at the weaknesses most people never see. Companies that look strong, but are built on fragile foundations. Businesses growing fast, but burning cash. Leaders making bad long-term decisions. Industries that seem hot, but are actually declining. These are things you won't easily find in reports. These are things you only understand when you're inside the game. And here's the real power of these two questions together. The first one shows you the winners. The second one exposes the losers. And in between those two answers, you start to see the entire industry clearly, not through opinions, not through headlines, but through reality. Most people, they try to understand businesses from the outside. They read articles, watch interviews, follow trends, and they end up confused because they're drowning in information, but lacking clarity. But these two questions cut through all of that. They go straight to the truth. Because instead of guessing, you're learning from people who already know. That's why Warren Buffett didn't need complexity. He didn't need hundreds of indicators. He just needed the right questions. And if you really understand this, you'll realize something important. It's not about having more information. It's about asking better questions. Because once you do, you stop seeing businesses as numbers on a screen, and you start seeing them the way insiders do. So the next time you look at a business, don't start with the numbers. Don't start with the hype. Start with better questions. Because sometimes one simple question can reveal more than hours of analysis ever could. And the difference between average investors and people like Warren Buffett isn't access, isn't luck. It's how they think. They don't chase information. They look for clarity. They don't follow the crowd. They understand the game. So if you want to see businesses the way they do, start asking who's really winning and who's quietly losing. Because once you see that, everything changes. And if this made you think differently, drop a comment and tell me, which company do you think is truly winning in its industry right now? And why? Don't forget to like the video and follow for more content like this.